Welcome to my site, everybody. My name is Paul Smyers. I'm a practicing country real estate agent in the central part of Virginia near the Shenandoah Valley, as you see behind me. And today I'm going to talk a little bit more of a personal side and about various ways that people want to use their country property to make a little extra money. Now, I'm not talking about making it rich and making a killing and getting totally off the grid. I'm just talking about various supplementary income sources that I have used or other people have used, and people who talk to me. I haven't used all of these, but there's a lot of different ways that you can use your rural property to make a little extra money. And it may not, make you wealthy, but it can sometimes, some of these can provide you food and they can provide you a little extra income, pay some of the bills, and so on. So let's get right into it. Now, one of the things that everybody wants to have is chickens. There's a lot of people who just say, I'm going to move out the country and I'm going to sell eggs. Well, if you want to make a living selling eggs, you better build a really big place for all your chickens. So a lot of people, they have this idea that they're going to make some money selling eggs. Well, let's say, okay, even if eggs are like $9 for a good dozen. By the way, in the rural areas, there's so many people have chickens that they're even cheaper than the country store because there people are just saying, "Hey, man, my hens laid about 30 eggs this morning, and I don't know what to do with them, so we'll sell a couple of dozen here for $5 a piece." So eggs can make you a little bit of money, but it's not something you really consider as income. I honestly, everybody I've known who's had chickens say, "Well, you kind of like break even," but you do get fertilizer, and you get they eat a lot of bugs, and they honestly can be kind of fun to have around the yard. And they also get some food. Now, you know, people don't like roosters very much because you don't need them and they make a lot of noise. So sometimes the roosters end up on the dinner table. But um, people can breed chickens as well if you have some special kind of breed. Out here in the country, if you look on Craigslist, you put on the farms and market, the farm and garden, it's a lot of listings of different things. You can buy chickens, you can buy quail, you can buy fertilized eggs or unfertilized eggs, you can buy just about anything kind of plants you want and bamboo, whatever. So out here in the rural area, there's a lot of things that you can do to supplement your income, but they're not going to make you wealthy. Now let's get into something else here. Storage and parking. If you have some space in your property, you might be able to let some guy park their big semi truck for $50 or $100 or $200 a month or something like that. You just somebody has an RV or a boat or something, and you got 10 acres or something. Well, hey, park it down over there by the fence over there and pay me $100 a month. I'll keep your boat over here. So there's little stuff like that you can do with your property because a lot of people have a lot of stuff, and if you live in a small home and you got a boat or a trailer or some kind, what are you going to do with it? You got to find a place to park it. So there you go. You park it on your land. Same thing with boarding horses and even cows. Sometimes people say, hey, you got a corral back in your little rural property and someone wants to have some goats, or you can sell goat milk, and you're not going to make a fortune, but you're going to have like some activity. Some people will come to your property, they'll pay you a little bit of money, they'll get your goat milk or your regular, sometimes people sell the roosters, but there's a lot of different little ways with animals that you can make a living, not a living, but just a little bit of extra income. Again, a farm stand. If you produce the vegetables, that you may not going to make a big fortune, but you can sell your berries, or you can sell your chestnuts, or you can sell your squash, or everybody likes zucchini squash, or especially those really big ones. So there's that kind of thing you can have. And the zoning matters because in a rural area, you are allowed to have, most cases you can have some kind of farm stand. They kind of expect it. If you're in the agricultural area, they expect, hey, why don't you have a farm stand? So get yourself out there, make a little farm stand. Some people actually, to sell their eggs, they just put a little donation box, and hey, if you steal the eggs, whatever, we'll get some more tomorrow. But most of the people are pretty honest. They throw a few dollars in and get their eggs or their broccoli or whatever. So cantaloupe, things like squashes, you can produce like some of these like butternut squashes, acorn squashes, they're stored for a long time. So if you produce a whole bunch of them on your garden, they're just growing like wild. You go out and pick up 100 of them and sell them for $3 a piece or something. So vegetables and that kind of thing, farm stand, that kind of work sometimes. eBay, selling on Craigslist. A lot of people, they just do that out in the countryside. Hey, you know, I've done that myself. I lived in the countryside while I was a photographer. I lived out in a rural area of upstate New York. And besides my photography work, what I would do is I'd go on eBay and I would look around in the area and garage sales and flea markets, and sometimes I get some really good deals. After a while, you learn, hey, I got something for a good deal, and I can take a nice photo of it and put it on eBay. And hey, you know, if you earned an extra $300 a month selling stuff on eBay, that's $3,600 a year. You think you can do something with that? Yeah, you can make a few mortgage payments or something like that. So it really helps to have a little extra income. And I always suggest try to have multiple sources. And I'll get into another one here in a minute here. But an online job. There are people who work online with different things, and there's so many out there. I won't even get into it now, but there's many part-time, full-time ways where you can do some editing, or you can, I don't know, you can just do all kinds of stuff online. There's temporary jobs. There's people who need clerical help. They want you to review a document. I mean, there's many, many ways that you can go through an online business. And you may not make a fortune, but if you make $500 extra a month or $300 a month, again, it makes a big difference in the operation of your household. So, school buses. Now, this sounds kind of funny to some people, but in the rural areas, people get taken by a school bus to the school. And some of them live, honestly, 20 miles away from the school. There are cases like that where the school bus, the way they work it in the rural areas, the school bus driver for some of these rural areas, they get their bus, they could park it on their own property, you see, because that's where they start in the morning. They get up and they start from the farthest passenger, and they take it on the way in, they drop them off at the school. And then a lot of these people, there's a lot of people I've met, they have a school bus, they make some significant extra money. You get up in the morning, you take the kids to school. You wait for a while, you go home, relax for a while, and then next thing you know, you go out and do the route, take home, and then you park your bus in front of your house, and that's it. And they're very regular. You have all summer off, so it sounds funny, but if one of the people in your family is willing to drive a school bus, it's a part-time, pretty well paying as per hour. I did it long ago when I was much younger. I drove a school bus for a while, and frankly, you know, you get like a piece of cake, and you know, you get up in the morning, yeah, you got to get up early, okay? So then you take your little route, and it takes you maybe an hour to get all the kids to school or something. You go home and relax for a while, you come back in the afternoon, do another couple hours of work, and then you're done. See, little jobs like that, delivery, furniture delivery, Uber, all those kind of things, someone in the family who's making money, maybe there's a full-time earner of some kind and they have a job far away, and you keep one person at home, they make some supplementary income, but they're also managing the household. It takes some time and energy to manage, so it's worth something to stay at home, and you make some supplementary income, and then you help supplement your whole operation. Let's see if I got anything. Oh, bees, hops, sunflowers. People have bees on their property. I mean, really quality honey is hard to find now. You go out in the countryside and somebody has a whole bunch of flowering. There's flowering shrubs and trees and around or whatever, and a lot of flowers. The bees, they're doing what they always do, is make honey. And not all bees make honey, by the way, just so you know. There are certain kinds of bees that produce honey. If you find one on your property that they're making honey, I knew a friend one day, years ago, that a big tree fell down on her property, and it had a massive honey hive on it, and she was so lucky, got pounds of beautiful, beautiful fresh honey from her own property. So some people have bees in the country. We need bees. They fertilize, they go out and they pollinate, and so it's very, very important. So if you have bees in your property and you're that kind of person who wants to do that, you can make some money on the honey, and you can sell hives and so on. There's a whole thing going on. I don't know a lot about it, but just go research that. Hops. I knew a friend one time, every summer he just had a beautiful exposure of one area of his big barn, grow up a whole bunch of hops, and he made his own beer. He'd go take all these beautiful hops that he grew himself in the beautiful sun of his own property, take it down to this company, and they made a beer for him. So you can sell hops. There are people who love to make their own beer. And if you have the right sunshine and soil on your property, it takes nothing for you to just plant a bunch of these like sunflowers. There are people who sell a massive sunflower head for $10. It's full of seeds and it looks beautiful. You have seen a few sunflower fields. I've seen them. They're just totally covered with sunflowers. So they look beautiful on your property, and if you want to sell sunflowers, that's kind of an option. You're not going to make a fortune, but hey, you meet some customers. That's another part of it. When you have a rural property, you want to meet your neighbors, and if you have a little farm stand or something going on your property, you sell. You're not trying to make a fortune, but the neighbors come and they get to know you and everything. It's really great. Sheep and goats breeding, yeah, again, sheep and goats breeding. Now, materials, some people have really great trees on their property. You can cut down a tree. You can have a portable lumber mill come in. They come in, you pay them a certain amount per board foot. They'll cut down hundreds of board feet, and you can make your own materials from your own property. You can sell them. There are people on Craigslist now that sell. They cut down a tree. Maybe it just fell down on their property. Hey, lucky them, a big tree fell down. So they just cut it up and make boards, and they sell live edge boards for $10 a board foot and so on. So you have like things on your property like stones, rocks, gravel, maybe even some flora that you might be able to, like raspberries or something. People have raspberries growing on their property, like there's huge bushes, and there's a lot of people in the suburbs that just love to have a raspberry bush on their property. You sell them, you get them free, basically. Hay, that's another one. Hay doesn't really pay much, actually, but if you have the open fields and the hay is growing fine over there, sometimes you can make a deal with the local farmer. Say, hey, for no cost, you just clear my field every once in a while, usually 2 cuttings a year. They cut down the hay, and believe me, a beautiful hay, the horse lovers love it, okay? They're not going to pay a lot, actually, because it takes $35, $40 for one of those big round bales, or whatever that you see. It's not a lot of money, but it keeps the property mowed down. For example, if you have all this open acreage, you might as well just hay. And then the farmers, you make good neighborhood relationships when you have someone helping you out. And sometimes you may need a farmer who has a backhoe or something, or a bulldozer, because sometimes in the countryside you need some little help with some big machines, but you don't own them yourself. You don't need to, but you might have a neighbor who you have a cooperative arrangement with that can help you out in some areas. So let me just check my list here. Boardings, hay, farm stand, firewood, that's another big one. Firewood. A lot of people have trees. They might fall down. If you have a bunch of trees in your property, one day a big one falls down. Hey, you got lucky. A big oak tree fell down. You cut it up and sell it for firewood. It's free money. Now, in the wood area, out in the rural areas like in Virginia, loads and loads of people have trees. Too many trees. And some people harvest the trees that fall down the road after a big storm. So there's a lot of firewood. You can't make a big profit on the firewood, but you can recoup your costs and clean up your property. You can get, every free $50 is free $50. Even if you get the firewood, you check it out, you see if it's dry enough, you maybe stack it and everything, you cut it up with one of those big log splitters and so on. And over a period of time, you make some regular income, because every season, especially around October, November, people are saying, hey, I need some firewood, and you can make some money that way. You're not going to make a fortune unless you have a huge operation, but you're going to end up making a little extra money for yourself. Rocks. Some people have a lot of rocks in their property they can sell. Soil. If you got good topsoil on their property, there's people who there are people in the suburb who will pay good money, $20 for a little bag like this, of 40, 50 pounds of, if you have hundreds and hundreds of pounds of good topsoil, you can figure to do the math, you might be able to sell some of it. I think we've covered most of the things here. There's a lot of different ideas. I haven't tried them all, but think about ways that you can earn some money on your property that take a little extra maybe a little extra effort, but in the big picture, you're making a little extra money, and also the value of meeting your neighbors. Because if you have little things going on in your property where maybe you're selling firewood or have a farm stand or sell some vegetables, or maybe you got blackberries on your property, chestnuts or something like that, it's such a nice thing to meet the neighbors. They come by and they shop from you and buy your little items and so on. And it's just one of the beautiful parts about rural life. You can usually make a little extra money from your property in a rural area. Check the zoning, because for some things, especially involving animals and so on, you might need the right kind of agreement from your neighbors, especially if they have roosters. So thanks again for watching, and I appreciate all the feedback. I really enjoy hearing from you, and I watch other people's content, and hope to see you in some of my other content. Okay? Bye-bye.